maybe the person doesn't matter. Maybe it doesn't matter that it's Matt Gaetz or his next nominee, which is Pam Bondi. The great Ken Klukowski, our senior legal analyst, is here to talk about Miss Bondi. Ken, how are you, sir?
Great to be with you, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Great to talk to you. Yeah, do you have, I don't want you to get in a political mess here, but any thoughts on Matt Gaetz and what happened and all the rest, or are we just moving on?
I think we're just moving on because all we know is that there are, at this point, allegations. No report has been made public. The corporate media lies about Republicans. The biggest example of that, of course, was President Trump himself, and they just lied over and over. So it's when it comes to accusations being made about Republicans, especially Republicans in public office, and Republicans being considered for higher office, I think we don't give any credibility to anything the corporate media says because we don't know if any of it is true. We do know that it's a smear game, that they see this as a team sport, and instead of being the refs, they're wearing a jersey, and the jersey is on the other team. So I think we just move on.
Okay, and we'll figure out the time, and it will all come to light what happened and why and all the rest. But let's not get too discouraged because we have another person here, Pam Bondi. What do we need to know about Pam Bondi? Do we like Pam Bondi, Ken?
We definitely like Pam Bondi, and I'll tell you, Pam Bondi is first, last, and always a crime fighter. She's been a prosecutor for 18 years, a full-length career in public service as a law enforcement officer, both as a county prosecutor, where you're really in the weeds, doing the day-to-day on serious crimes, the sort of crimes that we see in the news, the sort that we talk about when it comes to illegal aliens, the sort that we saw this week in terms of Laken Riley's murderer being sentenced. That's the work of a district attorney, a county prosecutor, and going from that to being the Attorney General of Florida, which is America's third largest state, and being reelected to that job. So doing a full 8 years as the chief law enforcement officer, running essentially the Florida version of the Justice Department. I believe they have around 2,000 people in the Florida AG's office. It's a major operation. And so all of that shows that Pam Bondi is well qualified for this position, and we know that she's also been a long-term legal ally of the president and a fan of the president's agenda, both in office and out of office, and also that she's helped fight back defending the president against the lawfare that, as we've seen over the years, it's not so much about the president as it's to come after ordinary men and women, that the average American and President Trump has just been standing in their way, and Pam Bondi has been a central part of the legal defense to beat this lawfare, and now it is beaten. So I think you take that from first to last, and you have here a well-qualified nominee for U.S. Attorney General, and I'm confident she will be confirmed.
Okay. Elon, the other day, this was 3 days ago, he said Matt Gaetz has 3 critical assets that are needed for the AG role. A big brain, a spine of steel, and an axe to grind. He's the Judge Dredd that America needs to clean up a corrupt system and put powerful bad actors in prison. Gaetz will be our hammer of justice. Do you think Pam Bondi has those 3 things too? A big brain, a spine of steel, and an axe to grind?
When you teed that up, who made that comment?
That would be Elon Musk.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, it's I as a lawyer, I use my own characterization for how I qualify leaders. It is she's tough as nails. There's no question about that, and she knows the job, and she knows that for a U.S. Attorney General, there's 115,000 people at DOJ, the Department of Justice. And so you have to be a lawyer, you also have to be a leader, and you have to be a manager. And if you look at the team that's coming in around her, Todd Blanche as Deputy Attorney General, a criminal lawyer, prosecution and defense, of course, also defending the president. You have Todd's chief deputy, Emil Bovee, the principal associate deputy attorney general. You've got John Sauer coming in as solicitor general, which is, in a way, that's the top courtroom lawyer for the United States. That's the DOJ's top Supreme Court lawyer. He leads a team of 20 Supreme Court lawyers, also argues many of those cases himself, and then the SG also supervises all the appellate work of the entire department. In whatever division you're in, if you want to appeal from trial court to the Court of Appeals, you have to get approval from the SG's office. John Sauer, it's top law school, Rhodes Scholar, clerked for Justice Scalia on the Supreme Court, has argued cases before the court most recently, and of course famously President Trump's immunity case, which was a blockbuster victory for the rule of law this past year. Her job is to lead and manage that entire team, and she definitely has the skill set to do it. So she's coming at it from the right set of principles, from a commitment to implement the president's agenda, President Trump's America First agenda. She's got and her record shows that she has many years, almost 2 decades, of the leadership and management skill to do that well. So I think she brings a full toolbox to a critically important job.
You mentioned John Sauer. I just searched his name, and the first thing that popped up is his local newspaper, the Kansas City Star. It says, this Missouri lawyer pushed to limit abortion. Now he's Trump's solicitor general pick. And then, that's like a smear.
Well, yeah. Whenever they frame anything up, and again, that's back to the beginning of the segment. Anything that the corporate media is saying about high-ranking Republicans, you take it with more than one grain of salt. I've actually had the opportunity to work with John Sauer, just as I helped I helped in the legal efforts as he was defending the president. I've also had the opportunity to work with Todd Blanche and Emil Bovee. So you'll find and for that matter, and Attorney General Bondi, because remember she's already been Florida Attorney General, so she already has the title. I've actually worked with each of these lawyers. You'll find my name on legal briefs in proximity to theirs in some of this key litigation, including even defending President Trump in court. So, I mean, this is a team that I'm a big fan of these people.
Oh, that's great. And it's good to know, and I'm so glad you knew all these other people, because these people don't get the attention, right? Like, there's no articles about Emil Bovee out there. No one's like talking about that. But those people are just as important, if not more so, than the head, right? So I think about this with Pete Hegseth too, and anyone who thinks Pete Hegseth isn't qualified, it's not just him, it's everyone he surrounds himself with. It's true with all these positions, right? It's who they're surrounded with. And so you're saying you're very satisfied with that second tier. I don't know what the right word for it is in a massive hierarchy, but like that the next level down below the person we're confirming, you think that's on.
Yeah, absolutely, and in the vernacular is you talk about the deputy level, there's 5 tiers of 5 levels, 5 tiers of appointees who are presidential appointees that are Senate confirmed or PAS schedule. Senior level cabinet is tier 1. That's like the Attorney General. The deputy AG is tier 2, and then the Solicitor General would be what we call tier 3. So these are senior levels in the U.S. government. Yeah, we refer to cabinet level and sub-cabinet or deputy level, and those are the levels we're talking about with these. And yes, these key positions, they're all the heads of very large teams, and then overseeing entire divisions of departments. And I'm thrilled with this leadership team coming in at DOJ. The American people need to get DOJ back in the business of being a law enforcement agency, enforcing the laws of the United States, just to enforce the law as written, and to be that rock solid presence in terms of sustaining the rule of law, and that's what I think we're going to get with this team.
It's good to know that. It's good to know that you approve of all these, and Chris Christie had nothing to do with them.
To the best of my knowledge, that's right. I'm not working on the president's transition team, but I think it's a safe bet that Chris Christie is not lurking around at Mar-a-Lago anywhere.
So this is very different than 2016 again. So we're grateful for that. All right, last question on Pam Bondi. I have this impression, and it's merely an impression based off nothing. So please, as Ron DeSantis would say, disabuse me of this notion. But I have this idea that Gaetz was like this bulldog who was going to go in and blowtorch the whole operation, and versus Pam Bondi, who's a great manager of the operation and won't go in with as much blowtorch, but will maybe set it straight, but not do the deep reforms that some might think are needed. You with me on that characterization? Where is that right?
Oh, I think Attorney General Bondi will do exactly the kind of reforms that are needed. This is because, remember, ultimately, the authority radiates out from the president, and she has been close to the president for a long time. She's been centrally involved with the campaign and with the transition. The nonprofit work she's been doing in recent years has been to advance the America First agenda in court, so she knows all the details on this. And so between a president who wants to reform and restore the executive branch of which he is the head, and us having it for anything that requires changes in statute. And for DOJ, I don't even think there necessarily needs. I don't know of anything where you would need to change any of the statutes from Congress with regards to the Justice Department. If there were, you have now a working majority in Congress. You have a working majority both in the House and the Senate, so that you could actually make those changes. But even within the framework of the existing statute, it just takes managerial and leadership know-how and knowing the details of the agenda and having the right team and effectively managing them to actually make those reforms. And I'm confident that Attorney General Bondi has got what it takes to do that.